Welcome back to another exciting episode of Berrien Birders.
All right.
It's late April of 2025, and we're going to do our listing update for how we've done so far this year. We did a video about a month ago, towards the end of March, about where we were, and we've done fairly well. We had harlequin duck, we had both swans. It took me a little bit more time to get trumpeter. We had cackling goose, we had white-fronted goose. We'd had some pretty good luck with owls, with long-eared saw-whet, as well as actually short-eared. Though we'll circle back on that. We had Shrike. Josh, you had Golden Eagle, and I actually still needed it, though. Fortunately, since then, Josh, you helped me get on another Golden. But that's about where we left. That we were still needing some ducks, and there were some ducks that were hard to find.
Yeah, and we're looking at some long-tailed ducks right now, which have all but moved on. Now, I mean, it'd be kind of interesting to find one, I think, around now. But the red-breasted mergansers are still around as of earlier this morning. Still some moving along Lake Michigan.
And here's red-throated loon, kind of one of those late March kind of birds, and we were struggling to find scoters. And here's white-winged
Yeah,
scoters here. That this should not have been as hard of a bird as it was. I
scoters
think
were non-existent for pretty much until February. I mean, it was just they were nowhere to be found.
those were just about the only white wings I saw, and I think this is the only black scoter I saw all spring. Though there are some years where you don't get black scoter very easily.
Yeah, we had a black scoter in the channel at Tiscornia that was given good views for a couple days there.
Here's a snow goose Josh found.
Yes, snow goose. Actually, it was funny. The first time I saw this, and now we're looking at a short-eared owl. But when I found that snow goose, it was mixed in with just a ton of ring-billed gulls in the middle of a field. So always pays off to pick through the gulls, right?
Look at all those white birds. You never know what you're going to find. And we're starting to get hawks to come through. So here's ospreys adding themselves to the copulation list. These are birds that Josh and I actually had on a March big day. But ospreys around. We've had golden eagle. Josh has had it a couple times now this spring. Crazy number of those.
Yeah, it seems to be a good year. There's been quite a few moving through. We've had a couple solos, and then on the Hawkwatch Dune, we had a pair of them go over.
And
So
we'll
good
get
year for
back
golden
later
eagle.
on in the year of some of the kind of uncommon red tails that Josh has come across a couple of the dark morph red tails, and we may have some video of one of the light red tails from out west as well that we'll get to later on this summer. But then you get into kind of all the April migrants, and here's fox sparrow, one of the classic April migrants. So they're now giving way to white-throated sparrow in the woods.
Definitely, yeah. These guys are getting tougher to find now too, and so are these guys. The golden crown kinglets. They usually come through before the ruby crowns, and it's hard to find a golden crown the last few days. But the ruby crowns they seem like they're peaking right now.
I would agree, and then the ruby crowns are going to start giving way to some of the warblers. Even this morning, Josh and I found white-eyed vireo, which is kind of one of those birds that we're looking for. Some of the southern birds that are here in southwest Michigan, just barely. Although the last few years, white-eyed's been pretty reliable. I'm sure we'll get some footage of white-eyed later on this spring
Definitely.
for this version of the video that we're going to do towards the end of May.
Yeah, it's definitely picking up, and here we see a ruby crowned kinglet. But yeah, it's definitely starting to pick up with warblers and blackbirds, as we see some blackbirds on the screen now. Surprisingly, I was a little surprised because we've gone through quite a bit of blackbird migration already, but there were quite a few along the lakefront, kind of reverse migrating this morning even.
Nice. This is a huge flock that Josh and I came across that you can see this is almost all rusty blackbirds. There's a few redwings scattered in, but I'll go ahead and play the tape. But it's been a very good year for rusty. That this was a sight to behold.
Yeah, there were hundreds of them.
I would go so far as to say there were thousands of them that day. I actually looked up the Michigan State record, which was 13,000 apparently from somewhere around Muskegon. But I do have a
Oh,
video
wow.
of just this entire flock just streaming out of some of the woods when they perched up in the woods. I haven't gone through them since we didn't have 13,000. Here's Brewer's Blackbird, one of the nicer videos I've gotten of it this year. A much glossier bird. You can see a lot of that blue in the male here. The female, which I don't have pictured, would be kind of all gray. Now going back to the hawk dune, Josh, tell us about these birds.
Yeah, so these shout out to my guy Joe. He was up at Grand Mere and put the word out that some pelicans were moving south, and we just happened to be up on the Warren Dunes Hawk Dune at the time. So about 15 minutes later, we're wondering, hey, where are these
Like,
guys? And
these guys
we
could
turn
be here
around and
anytime now.
they could be here anytime. And we turn around and there they were, cresting the horizon. So they actually flew right over us. How many do we have here? Was it right around 50, right?
Yeah, it's a little over 50. That again, we could go to the trouble of counting them all, but then Mike Mahler had 100 of them in St. Joe. So regardless of how many we had, it was half of what the county record now is. So I haven't really gone through to say whether 51 or 53 or exactly what.
And that's not an easy bird to find either, right? I mean, you can't just go out and find a white pelican in Berrien
That's
County.
not every year that you're going to find those. And there was one day where they were just popping up all over the
Yeah.
county. Though I don't know that anyone saw them landing. Now here's the story of the year so far for Berrien birding, that the Three Oaks sewage ponds, they have drained down in order to do some maintenance work, and they have a ginormous mudflat. And this is a bird that Josh and I were talking about, among other people, saying that could show up, knowing that it was about time for lesser yellowlegs to show up. And this is a Ruff, a European shorebird. This is a female. You're going to see as we advance the clip that she's got orange legs, very blotchy plumage.
Yeah, very speckled, but those orange legs you can see now. I mean, they even stand out, in comparison to yellow legs.
Yeah, there's a few lessers here. It's mostly pectoral sandpipers that are in this view here. But this was a crazy bird that we had actually been at these ponds probably about 2 hours before it was found. It wasn't quite enough light, or maybe it was tucked in out of view, and we were on Buffalo Road looking for Smith's Longspur. Didn't get the Longspur, but then call goes out that there's a Ruff at Three Oaks, and there was a land rush of people from Buffalo Road making U/18-point turns off of Buffalo Road to get back to Three Oaks. And while we were there, black-necked stilts just popped right into my binocular field, which shocked me and helped me feel a little bit better about not seeing the Ruff the first time around, since there's no way we could have missed the stilts. And those clearly
Right.
dropped in and were gone within a few hours. I think they were just a one-day wonder.
Yeah, talk about stilts for a second, Matt. How often do they show up in the county? Because that's the first time I've seen them. That was a 3-lifer day for me. I had long-billed dowitcher, Ruff, and black-neck stilt.
Yeah, that's a good bird. I mean, that's an every 4 to 5 year bird. That it's probably about every 3 years someone gets in the county, but probably about every 4 to 5 years. I can think of maybe 3 or 4 times when I've had it in the county, but that's definitely not one you can count on. One that we
That
hope to
habitat.
get here is Wilson's phalarope.
Yeah.
That this was a nice female also at Three Oaks Ponds that hopefully we'll be able to get red-necked. If these ponds stay the way that they are, there's a pretty good chance that that bird will show up.
Yeah, this was a great, was giving great views for a little while when that middle pond was still drained. But this was a cool bird to see. And with the phalaropes, the females are larger, right?
Yeah, the females are certainly brighter. I can't speak to being larger or not. I don't recall that detail.
Or just more,
But
yeah.
but yeah, the females display and attract the males, and then lay the eggs, and then they ditch the males and go off and invoke their inner male mallard, and just leave the dudes to raise the young. And
Nice.
another bird that we referenced, that here's long-billed dowitcher, that this has been off and on at the Three Oaks ponds. This isn't a great ID video, but very brick red overall. You can kind of get a sense that these scapulars have some little white edges to them, that these feathers in the back have white edges rather than internal orange marbling. Long-billed, certainly in the last week of April, is by far the most likely of the two dowitchers, though some people reported they may have had short-billed as well. You can see a couple Dunlin in this frame, along with the blue-winged teal. So this has been a pretty crazy last couple of weeks. That it kind of takes us to kind of what's next. That typically, I mean, right now Josh is in the 170s, I'm in the high 150s, and numbers are one thing, but how many good birds do you have? This is a cattle egret from Florida, which Josh actually already has. That's still on my list here of birds that we're looking for right now. But in the years where I pushed 270, I had somewhere between 15 and 21 what I would rate as good birds, and right now we're sitting at 18. So I think that we're both doing pretty well, and Josh has a few, including one famous one we'll bring up in a upcoming video. But yeah, the question is what's up next? And so birds like cattle egret is something that we're going to be looking for that could pop up just about anywhere. Black crowned night heron and bittern were really at the peak time for those birds. Mockingbird is something again from Florida that we're overdue to have back on territory for. That should be showing up, and then kind of well a rarity like boat-tailed grackle here would be pretty sweet. But actually, that'd be a pretty mixed blessing to get a tailed grackle because then you'd have to try to figure out is it
Yeah,
boat-tailed
which
or
one
is
is
it
it?
great-tailed, and I would have to pull some references to try to figure out how you go about making that distinction, especially in a male. But and then we're going to get into all of the May birds in the woods of Connecticut warbler and Philadelphia vireo, all those sort of things. So a whole lot of birds to come. I think we've been doing well, but we just got to keep getting out there in the field.
Absolutely, just getting started, right? So getting into prime time here in the next few weeks.
This is already prime time for vagrants, and we're going to get a whole lot of birds these next couple of weeks. Get out in the field and enjoy them.
All right, we'll see you next time. Like, comment, subscribe for more content.